රිවයින්ඩ් කරන්න පුළුවන් නිසා මුකුත් මගේ වෙන්නේ.
BOTV TV බලන හොඳම විදිහ.
Good evening. Making headlines first at 9. Another shooting. Deputy Chairman of the Karandeniya Pradeshya Sabha, Donald Sampath, shot dead and one suspect arrested. Sri Lanka first. President Maithripala Sirisena reminds officials of the Foreign Employment Bureau to put the needs of Sri Lankans abroad and to provide them with a better service. Yes, there is a complaint. An individual says that the Commission to investigate bribery or corruption has lied to media as he has already complained fund transactions between parliamentarians and perpetual treasuries. And then there were none. Budget carrier Fly Dubai decides to withdraw from the Mattala Rajapaksa International Airport, claiming losses. Deepening strategic cooperation. Leaders of China and Russia pledged to deepen their bilateral ties to a more glorious future as they meet in Beijing, while Donald Trump pushes for Russia to be in the G7. Good evening, bringing you news from across Sri Lanka and around the world on Derana 24/7 first at 9. I'm Indivari Amuatta. We begin with your local news. Deputy Chairman of the Karandeniya Pradeshya Sabha, Donald Sampath, was shot dead by an underworld group in Galle last night. One suspect has been arrested in connection to the incident.
Deputy Chairman of the Karandeniya Pradeshya Sabha, Donald Sampath, who represented the Sri Lanka Podujana Peramuna, was returning home by his vehicle last night with a driver and a friend after attending a wedding ceremony in Yatagala area in the Galle district. The shooting had taken place at 10:15 p.m. yesterday when the vehicle of the Deputy Chairman of Pradeshya Sabha turned towards the road to Mahayadanda area at a junction. The two gunmen on a motorbicycle had taken a successful aim at the Pradeshya Sabha Deputy Chairman Donald Sampath, wounding him mortally. He was seated on the passenger seat of the rear end of the vehicle. The gunman had then attempted to flee the scene. However, attempts by the gunman to flee the scene were curbed by the driver when he had knocked the motorbicycle in defense. The gunmen had lost control of their motorbicycle and had fallen over the road. However, the two individuals had then run away from the scene, leaving behind the motorbicycle as well as their mobile phones. Meanwhile, in his attempt to save the life of the Deputy Chairman of the Karandeniya Pradeshya Sabha, the driver had hurried to the district hospital in Karandeniya to no avail. Deputy Chairman Donald Sampath had succumbed to his injuries on his way to the hospital. Driver and the friend were uninjured from the attack. Following the magistrate's inquiry this morning, the acting magistrate of Alpitiya, Vajira Ponnambalam, had instructed the post-mortem to be conducted by court medical officer of the Karapitiya Teaching Hospital. Meanwhile, the rider of the motorbicycle had been admitted to the divisional hospital in Uramangasandhya, claiming that he was met with an accident. However, the police officers attached to the Uramangasandhya later arrested the suspect in the hospital. He has been identified as the 22-year-old Asela Ranasinghe, who is the son of the notorious underworld figure Magalla Gavara. Police say the suspect is involved with many other crimes as well. A T-56 rifle, 30 bullets and hand gloves belonging to the individual were also taken into police custody. During the preliminary investigations, it has been discovered that the murder had been carried out by another underworld figure named Kosgoda Suji. It's been reported that the murder was planned as the father of the deputy chairman, who is a real estate agent, had refused to pay ransoms to a notorious underworld gang in the Galle district, and also because he had given information to the police regarding the gang.
Despite the Commission to investigate bribery or corruption in Sri Lanka stating that no complaint was made against perpetual treasuries and the transactions of funds between the company and members of parliament, new information suggests that it was not the case. When received a copy, or rather we received a copy of a complaint made by an individual named DDW Chandradeva. He even managed to produce a confirmation letter received with the signature of the secretary to the commission, the very same person who said that no complaint was made yet.
In a backdrop where 118 parliamentarians are alleged to have taken money from the owner of the Perpetual Treasuries Limited, Arjun Aloysius, names of only several of these parliamentarians have been revealed along with the names of former Central Bank Governor Arjuna Mahendran. Commissioner of the Commission to Investigate Bribery or Corruption, C. Neville Guruge, yesterday stated that no complaints have been made regarding these parliamentarians.
පැමිණිල්ලක් ඇවිල්ලා නැහැ. පැමිණිල්ලක් ලැබුණොතින් අපිට ලැබෙන පැමිණිලි සෑම එකක් සම්බන්ධයෙන්ම අපි ක්‍රියාත්මක වෙනවා.
To further confirm the matter, the Commissioner also made a phone call to the Secretary of the Commission, RMV Shanti Jayasekara, during the media briefing.
මිස් ජයසේකර මම සීත්‍රේ කතා කරන්නේ. අර മന്ത്രിවරු 118 බැඳුම් කර සිද්ධියේ ඇලෝෂියස් සල්ලි දුන්නා කියලා ඒකට අපිට පැමිණිල්ලක් ආවද එහෙම? නෑ නේ. හරි හොඳයි. කොහොම සිද්ධ නෑ. එහෙම දෙයක්. පැමිණිල්ලක් නෑ.
Although the Commission to Investigate Bribery or Corruption claims that they didn't receive any complaints on the matter yet, First at 9 received a copy of a complaint made by an individual named DDW Chandradeva on the 28th of May this year. The complaint had been made following MP Dayasiri Jayasekara's statement in the Parliament on the 25th of May, and this document states that the parliamentarian had taken bribes from the owner of Perpetual Treasuries, Arjun Aloysius. And this is the confirmation letter with the signature by the Secretary to the Commission, who yesterday claimed that no complaints had yet been made. DDW Chandradeva expressed his views to First at 9 today.
The Commission or Commissioner still doesn't know of a complaint I made with them on the 28th of May, that is 13 days ago. And the Commissioner publicly says that he would have taken action if he received any complaints. Why didn't they take these actions when they already had a complaint made?
Meanwhile, views were expressed regarding the 118 parliamentarians who have already received money from the owner of Perpetual Treasuries Limited, Arjun Aloysius, today as well.
If 118 parliamentarians had taken this money, then the rest of the 107 aren't involved here. So the public can then understand who took this money and who didn't. Even JVP's Nalinda Jayatissa betrayed the party by taking money along with journalist Mahesh Senanayake. The police is pressured by politicians not to reveal this information to the court. They had called the IGP and all other senior police officers to the parliament and ordered not to reveal any of their names. Nalinda Jayatissa must produce an affidavit if he says he is innocent. This investigation would have already been over if political influence was not hovering over this issue. I say the Prime Minister must resign. Even Minister Kabir Hashim has supported him in this situation. It will be revealed as to who made these so-called phone calls. Members from all parties are involved here. These responsible individuals held good relations with both the previous government as well as the current government. They tried offering me good deals too to cover this information. All of us knew that Perpetual Treasuries was the mother company of W.M. Mendes. Apparently, only this state minister knew nothing of it. They've committed a crime if they took this money after they assumed ministerial positions. Leaders of this country are liable to investigate on this issue under the Bribery Act. I challenge you to file a case against me and I will go to jail. These kinds of thieves become public representatives to steal from the poor of this country.
Well, in a reversal of allegations, former President Mahinda Rajapaksa said that those who labelled him as a thief are now being called the same. The former head of state was attending a ceremony to declare open a statue of the late politician S.D. Bandaranaike, who was the father of the former Deputy Minister Pandu Bandaranaike.
The statue of the late politician S.D. Bandaranaike was declared open by former President Mahinda Rajapaksa this morning. The function was organised by one of the sons of S.D. Bandaranaike, former Deputy Minister Pandu Bandaranaike.
Pandu Bandaranaike was one of my closest friends from earlier days. He continuously said that he cannot leave the SLFP, but somehow we left it. This was because of their union with the United National Party. Look what has happened today. Look at what's being said in the media. They are accusing each other. This is what they call politics today. They labelled us as thieves back then, but now the 118 is calling each other thieves.
On to other local news. President Maithripala Sirisena says that all state officials at Sri Lankan embassies across the world should work putting the needs of Sri Lankans, especially the ones stranded in foreign lands, first. President Sirisena made these remarks addressing a function to declare open the Uva Province branch of the Sri Lanka Foreign Employment Bureau and its resource centre.
The Uva Province branch of the Sri Lanka Foreign Employment Bureau and the Resource Centre was constructed in Hali Alabadulla at a cost of 540 million rupees.
Previous governments in the past 25 to 30 years have taken important decisions to solve the issues by Sri Lankans in foreign countries. But there are unresolved issues even today. Mostly, housemaids are facing many issues. Loopholes in diplomatic missions contribute to this. Sometimes, that is a mistake of the officers of relevant units. These issues are still taking place when we implement our policies as a government. The officials must have a good understanding over their responsibilities and obligations. They should also be humane when rendering their service.
And the Prime Minister says he is taking action to strengthen the structure and operation of Samurdhi banks by way of appointing a committee to look into the matter. This committee comprises of officials from the central bank. The Premier revealed this information to the public at an event held in Galewala today.
Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe today vested a newly constructed building of the Galewala Divisional Secretariat with the public.
විශේෂයෙන්ම දැන් සමෘද්ධිලාභීන් සංඛ්‍යාව
We're going to increase the number of beneficiaries for Samurdhi. We have decided to increase the officers in order to speed up the proceedings. I appointed a committee comprised of officials from the central bank to strengthen the Samurdhi bank. We are in attempts to increase the loans given to the people with low income. We reduced the price of petrol. We have not increased it to the prices of the global market. How much did they scream? But they stopped it after a week.
සුමානයක් කෑ ගහලා නැවතුනේ.
Minister of Science, Technology, Research and Skills Development Dr. Sarath Amunagama calls to question the gap between policies and their implementation in Sri Lanka. Speaking at an event held at the NSBM Green University yesterday, he emphasized the need for proper thought process by the academic community and professionals as to how to implement these policies in an affordable manner to the country.
In Sri Lanka, there is a big gap between policy and implementing that policy. Every week, cabinet is inundated with lots of good ideas, like leaves in the winter. They all fall every Tuesday on the heads of the cabinet. Partly because you don't want to offend that enterprising minister, they all say that it's a very good idea. So all these good ideas are piling up, but how much of it is actually implemented? How much of it sees the light of day? This is a big area that we have to look into. Every minister and secretary feels that he has to make a big contribution to modern knowledge implemented. How much can it be of it can be done within certain time scales, within certain financial parameters? So we need the academic community, we need the professional community to look at these. Now, for example, just now, this question of maternal leave. How many days do you give mothers? And latest thing is that together with the mother, you have to give the father also parallel leave. Now, all that is very good. Nobody is against the American flag or cherry pie or motherhood. They are all very good items. But can a country afford all this? So we need some hard thinking.
Moving on to your upcoming weather, the Meteorology Department predicts the prevailing windy conditions in the country along the coastal areas to continue over the next few days. In the meantime, a number of houses were reported damaged due to the heavy winds which blew across the country early this morning. In such a backdrop, the Disaster Management Centre told First at 9 that the people in the country are required to be vigilant over speedy winds, landslides and heavy rainfall.
The heavy winds prevailing in the Central Hills damaged a number of houses, disrupting power supply in several areas. In the meantime, a tree fell across the Colombo-Hatton main road, limiting the vehicular movement for one lane. Many houses in Paragama, Sundarapala in Vavegedara Kurunagala too were affected by heavy winds. In the meantime, several areas in the southern province too were affected by the strong winds that blew at around 3 to 4 this morning. Nagoda, Unanvitiya, Kappetiyagoda, Yakkalamulla and Kibiala were thus affected by the winds. Meanwhile, minor damages were done to a tea factory in Kibiala and the power distribution was disrupted due to power lines being damaged. The Tsunami Fishing Housing Complex in Ambalangoda was also affected by the heavy winds. In the meantime, the Meteorology Department warns that the prevailing weather conditions might continue for few more days and intermittent showers or thunder showers can be expected in the coastal areas via Colombo and Galle towards Hambantota. The department wants the fishing communities to be vigilant due to the increase in the winds coming through seas. In the meantime, speaking to First at 9, the Deputy Director of the Disaster Management Centre said that the people in the country are required to be vigilant over speedy winds, landslides and heavy rainfalls.
As per the meteorological department, people are advised to be vigilant with the strong winds expected to blow over the country, especially in northern area and north central province and central province, western province, Sabaragamuwa province and southern province as well. Still, people are advised to be vigilant with the prevailing expected rainfall by the Met Department, more than 75 millimeters in western province and Sabaragamuwa province as well as the Mathura and Galle districts. There is a bad weather conditions prevailing in the country. People need to take all the precautions to minimize the damages.
Well, the fishing community of Negombo continues their satyagraha for a second day today, demanding the immediate implementation of the kerosene subsidy. The satyagraha was staged yesterday in protest over the statement released by the Ministry of Fisheries and Aquatic Resources Development, which stated that the kerosene subsidy will be provided starting next Monday.
Fishermen in the area of Negombo restrained from working yesterday and staged a satyagraha against the government's failure to keep its promise to provide a kerosene subsidy for the beneficiaries. Meanwhile, State Minister of Fisheries and Aquatic Resources Development Dilip Vedarachi released a statement saying that the government has decided to grant the kerosene subsidy from next Monday. The statement went on to say that the price of a recently increased litre of kerosene will be reduced by 25 to 30 rupees and therefore a litre can be brought for 70 to 80 rupees by next Monday. Responding to journalists on the matter yesterday, the subject minister Vijit Vijayamuni Soisa said the discussions held with regards to this matter proved unsuccessful.
We provided 4 billion for the kerosene users. It is the Ministry of Petroleum which plans the distribution. It is the Ministry of Finance who decided on the subsidy. I extensively discussed with the two ministries. The discussion were unsuccessful and I stepped down from the discussion. A secretary called and informed me now that the actions are being taken to set a flat rate for kerosene. They are currently discussing over the rate.
Continuing the satyagraha for a second day today, the fishermen in Negombo expressed their displeasure over the statement by the Ministry of Fisheries.
They say that an amount between 25 rupees to 30 rupees will be deducted. So where do you stand between 25 to 30? Was that our request? Why are they trying to plaster these issues? Kindly give us a solution. If not, we will have to step to the roads.
Expressing objection over the matter, the Negombo fish market was seen closed today with black flags also hoisted.
Well, veteran teledrama and film script writer, novelist and journalist Somavira Senanayaka has passed away at the age of 74 today. Relatives of the veteran said he has been receiving treatment at a private hospital in Colombo when he passed away. Born in Avissavella, he began his career as a journalist in the Associated Newspapers of Ceylon, or commonly known as the Lake House, after graduating from Vidyodaya University. He has authored many books, including collections of short stories and children's books, since the year 1969. As a scriptwriter, he has contributed in teledramas such as Dudaruwo, Kandegedara, Charita Tunak and Sita Nivana Katha. He has also worked as a scriptwriter for the films Mihindum Sihina, Aradhana and Amma Varune. We take a short break. I'll be back with your business news on the other side.
You are watching Sri Lanka's award-winning news channel, Derana 24/7.
Dubai-based airline Fly Dubai has decided to withdraw from Mattala Rajapaksa International Airport operations. According to the Ministry of Transport and Civil Aviation, the decision was made upon the company occurring losses.
Budget carriers Fly Dubai and Air Arabia began operating to Mattala International Airport when it was declared open to people on the 18th of March in 2013. However, after 6 weeks, Air Arabia pulled out saying it was uneconomical. Sri Lankan Airlines also stopped flying to Mattala in 2015, saying the carrier was losing an addition of $18 million a year because it was forced to operate via Mattala. Afterwards, Fly Dubai was the only carrier which functioned regularly at the airport. After taking the decision to withdraw from the Mattala International Airport, the carrier, which was functioning 4 days a week, has stopped all the flights to the airport and have stopped issuing tickets from the website. According to the reports, the airline has withdrawn the flights due to the losses incurred to the company.
The aircrafts of the company were damaged by bird strikes. Therefore, they had made a request to take a measure to solve the issue. They agreed to recommence flights from November to February. We're going to start an industrial zone and the airport will be active in no time.
KUK Electronics AG, a Swiss manufacturer of coils and electronics, has plans of setting up a manufacturing plant in Sri Lanka, and the first round of talks with the Ministry of Development Strategies and International Trade took place recently. Head of Business Development of KUK Electronics AG, Manuel Inaon, met Minister of Development Strategies and International Trade Malik Samaravikrama to hold discussions and expressed the company's interest in establishing business in the country. KUK Electronic, which was established in 1990 in Switzerland, operates production facilities in China, Slovakia, France, the Netherlands and Germany. In your international news, leaders of the G7 group gathered in Canada for what could be one of its most acrimonious summits in years. Donald Trump has called for Russia to be readmitted to the G7 club of world leaders, opening up a new rift with US allies who swiftly contradicted him at a contentious summit in Quebec. Although there were smiles and handshakes between Trump and his counterparts from Europe, Canada and Japan, there was no sign by last night that they were not any closer on the deeply dividing issue of trade, climate change and policy towards Moscow. Trump made his comments on the way to the summit saying, quote, "Why are we having the meeting without Russia being in the meeting? Russia should be in the meeting. It should be a part of it," unquote. President Trump was the last to arrive and the first to leave, since he plans to leave the summit mid-morning on Saturday, 4 hours earlier than originally planned, to fly to Singapore ahead of his historic meeting with North Korean leader Kim Jong-un. And relations between the United States and China are deteriorating, on the verge of a trade war. Bilateral and trade relations between Russia and China seem to be in the bloom. Chinese President Xi Jinping and his Russian counterpart Vladimir Putin yesterday pledged to further deepen China-Russia strategic cooperation and lead their bilateral ties to a more glorious future. The pledge was made at the Great Hall of People in Beijing, where Xi conferred the first ever Order of Friendship to Putin on his outstanding contributions promoting the China-Russia relationship.
Vladimir Putin has chosen China for his first foreign state visit in his new presidential term. As soon as the Russian president arrived in Beijing yesterday, he met with his Chinese counterpart, President Xi Jinping. During the meeting, the two leaders had reiterated their commitment towards strengthening relations between their respective countries. Later in the day, President Xi awarded country's first friendship medal to the Russian president, highlighting China's close ties with Russia. It is the highest order that is awarded to foreigners who have made outstanding contributions to China's socialist modernization drive. Vladimir Putin also met with Chinese Prime Minister Li Keqiang in Beijing yesterday. During the meeting, Premier Li said China is ready to step up efforts to align the Belt and Road Initiative with programs of the Eurasian Economic Union. Meanwhile, Putin had said that Russia is willing to work with China to align different development strategies, continue to promote programmatic cooperation in various fields, and enhance cultural exchanges. Putin also attended the first day of the 18th Shanghai Cooperation Organization Summit in the eastern Chinese coastal city of Qingdao today. The annual SCO summit is expected to formulate a new strategy to better connect their respective national development strategies so as to boost regional cooperation. Leaders from Iran, India, Pakistan and 4 Central Asian countries are currently attending the summit.
Still in international news, US media today reported that China had hacked a US Navy contractor and stole highly sensitive security data. The media reports went on to say that the US law enforcement agency, Federal Bureau of Investigation, is currently conducting an investigation into the alleged incident. The news comes amid attempts by both China and the United States to avoid a trade war following the recent decision by Trump administration to impose heavy tariffs on steel and aluminium imports from countries including China.
US government officials had told the Washington Post that data stolen by China from a US Navy contractor during the breach include plans for a supersonic missile project. Hackers had targeted a contractor linked to a US military organization that conducts research and development for submarines and underwater weaponry. The firm had been working for the Naval Undersea Warfare Center, a military organization based in the US state of Rhode Island. Officials had added that among the material accessed were data relating to a project known as Sea Dragon, as well as information held within the Navy Submarine Development Unit's electronic warfare library. Plans included an anti-ship missile system to be installed on US submarines by 2020. While the data was stored on an unclassified network belonging to the contractor, it is considered highly sensitive due to the nature of the technology under development and the links to military projects. The Washington Post reports that these cyber attacks had taken place in January and February this year. An investigation into the incident is currently being conducted by the FBI.
You are watching Sri Lanka's premier news channel, Other Derana 24/7.
Sri Lankan juniors are in action in Japan at the 18th Asian Junior Athletic Championship. Sri Lankans won 2 gold medals, 3 silvers and a bronze medal at the meet so far.
Parami Vasanthi Maristella was able to secure the gold medal today in the event of 3,000 meter steeplechase. She won the event clocking 10 minutes and 21 seconds, which is also her personal best. In the women's 800 meters, Dilshi Kumarasinghe won the bronze medal, recording a time of 2.45 seconds. The timing earned Dilshi her personal best performance and a new national record.
And the weather forecast for the next 24 hours is coming up next on the other side. A very good evening and welcome to Forecast First. Your temperatures for tomorrow are to vary between 21 and 33 degrees Celsius, with the highest expected along the coastal line from Mullaitivu to Batticaloa. Well, when looking at the map, a low pressure zone is set to develop from the central hills and will gradually disappear. Well, the districts of Jaffna, Mana, Anuradhapura and Trincomalee will experience sunny weather tomorrow, but the districts of Vaunia, Kandy, Colombo, Galle and Matara as well as Hambantota will however experience some heavy showers. That's all we have from the Weather Centre tonight. Up next is your city by city forecast. That's it on your Premier English News Bulletin on Other Derana 24/7. But before we go, we'd like to leave you with some visuals. And tonight we take you to Rattigali Lake, situated in Neelam Valley in Azad Kashmir in Pakistan. The lake is fed by the surrounding glacier waters of the mountains and is loved by the local and foreign tourists. Enjoy these visuals. Have a pleasant evening. Good night.
Bringing you the news and information 24 hours a day. This is Sri Lanka's premier news channel, Other Derana 24/7. You are watching Sri Lanka's #1 news channel, Other Derana 24/7.